we'll go ahead and get started. And thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Well, very, very excited to be here and really get the morning started with this type of session. I know y'all have done a few of them, so glad to be part of it and get to talk a little bit about the engagement committee this morning. So very excited about that.
Great. Well, and just for those who don't know me, I am the Director of Member Engagement and Education. I'm relatively new to the association. I started almost a year ago, and I've been really lucky to be able to work with volunteers and the committees and just members in general with the association. I've really enjoyed it. My background is with member engagement and volunteers, and so I'm glad to bring that to the association and work with the wonderful volunteers we already have in place and really help build that. And I've been working with Brad with the Member Engagement Committee, as well as a couple of other committees with the association. And he's been kind enough to volunteer to speak with you guys today and tell you a little bit more about what's going on and just talk about member engagement and what we can do as an association.
Well, thank you very much, Catherine. I'll give you a little bit more of my background, and really we'll keep this very conversational because it is a small group. So excited about that and be able to engage in dialogue a little bit in this session. So long background in public accounting with Dixon Hughes Goodman, still with the firm, but now lead a different kind of team called DHG Search, which does financial accounting, IT, and executive recruiting, and work across the whole firm footprint actually. And so the background I have is in audit, the kind of coming through the audit background and then transition into this other advisory role within the firm, and have enjoyed being part of the community and the profession for a long time now. CPA, CMA, and in my role also leading the business unit, how important the CPA is and the business that I do, from all the way to the financial reporting and the budgeting and the other areas of accounting that I have to get involved in on top of the executive recruiting. So it's been very valuable throughout my career. And I think most people would say the same when they get that CPA, how important it is to maintain and enjoy continuing the CPE and being part of the community. So been very fortunate to be part of the firm and be part of a firm that's grown like we have. And the other area that has allowed me to grow, just to share a little more about my experience, is being involved in South Carolina Association of CPAs and various either local chapter events and then also in more statewide activities and roles. But it's been a very important part of learning for me, because it gives you a safe opportunity to continue to grow and learn in your leadership skills, your networking skills, your communication skills, and then also being more aware of the advocacy area within our organization, which is an area that a lot of times we don't think about. It's kind of behind the scenes, but is a key part of also our organization and our association. And so, with being involved at the local chapter level was great for me, and a great opportunity to continue to meet and network locally, but then growing within the profession and having opportunities to expand across the state, knowing Pat, know you, know others that are all the way across the state now because of being involved in this organization, is also a huge benefit. But not only and I share that story because it's a benefit for those that you can plug in and get connected into a role, is the best way to really get the fullest advantage of the community and the membership. I feel is when you are engaged and able to connect into projects and opportunities, committees, and wanted to share a little bit of the background of this committee and what it's done and where it's been, just to give you a little bit of a scope of what has been working behind the scenes a little bit. And a committee, not just myself. I can't take credit for this. There's committee members and others and staff liaisons that do a great job in this space. And I want to say around 2019, we started with just an initial survey. Capturing the voice of the members was where this started, which was very helpful, because we did get feedback of what type of engagement, what type of involvement, ranging from just attending a conference engagement to volunteering at a conference or event, CP event, all the way to serving on boards, local, chapter, or our boards and other committees across the state. And what we heard was a continuous area of opportunity is to get maybe plugged in smaller ways. Sometimes it's a little daunting to think, hey, I'm signing up for a 3-year commitment, right, Catherine?
Right,
Would you agree to that?
No, I agree. If I barely know what I'm doing 2 weeks from now, much less. So I agree with that. And I think it's nice to see the different opportunities. That's just a one-time chance that you can do, and getting your feet wet and getting comfortable to build into that comfort level of that longer term commitment if it's something you're interested in.
So that is definitely something we heard and got feedback on from these surveys, which was great. Another area that we got feedback on is our accounting profession. The ones that do this, they don't do this for huge recognition. They do this because they care, because they want to plug into the community, because they want to continue to learn and grow. But at the same time, we do want to recognize and realize there's opportunity for us to continue to recognize those that do put in that time and volunteer. So that was pretty important. A lot of times it wasn't so much about what type of recognition, but just that there was some recognition. And I think that kind of translates really well into what's happening across our offices and our communities, as far as our companies, to be honest with you, because I know at Dixon Hughes Goodman, one thing we do is called a rave, and we want to recognize team members when they do something great and appreciate them right there in the spot. You don't have to wait till the end of the year or to longer terms to do that. So we wanted to make sure we're working toward recognition for all our volunteers. And it takes a lot of volunteers to do what we do and to spread the word and continue to grow the South Carolina Association of CPAs, which is one of the things we want to continue to do. So that was another area that we heard back from. It wasn't so much about a huge gift or something of that nature, but sometimes just a note in our catalog, our magazine, or on the website, appreciating folks. So that's something that you'll hear how it kind of intertwines into our mission that we ended up creating after hearing on the voice and getting that voice that we wanted to hear from, so we knew kind of the directions to go for this committee. And then the team did create that engagement committee mission, which is create opportunities for members to get involved with the association, developing a fulfilling experience for volunteers, and establish a system to recognize and reward member engagement. And so kind of where we are through these stages is creating that mission statement, really trying to get the word out. And so some of the things that I can share with you already that we've seen in action from this committee, really cool, is an improved and added access via our website to volunteers, for volunteers to find us, because sometimes the volunteers are there, but they don't know where to look or where to find us. So we have improved access via our website for volunteer. And Catherine, can you speak to that? I know there's a page now that can be found on the website as well, related to volunteers.
So it's easy access now, which is what we wanted for anyone who's interested. And I know I've used it when people have asked for a business card and I just haven't had one on me, and I direct them straight to it. There's a form that they can fill out, and it is underneath our membership tab. So it's easy to see. You go right onto the main webpage on scapa.org, click on membership, and it's volunteer with SCACPA from the drop-down menu. And we are, I will say, updating and building it constantly. So we're adding different opportunities, different explanations of the committees that members can get involved with. But it's just a simple form that you can fill out that sends it directly to us. It's a checkbox. So you don't have to answer, a lot of questions or getting into details, but just letting us know so that we can reach back out to the member who's interested and really dive deeper in with them to see where their best fit is too. Because sometimes you think you want to do one thing and you start talking with other members or talking with us and realize that there's a completely different opportunity you didn't know existed that really is a great fit for your skills and what you're looking for and what you're interested in.
Yeah, and I think that's important because we want to gather these interests, and that doesn't just, a website is not the end all be all for that solution, but we wanted to have that tool there. I really think the biggest way that probably many of us on this call got involved is somebody mentioned to us getting involved, or you got an ask or request. So I want to encourage others to make sure they pass along these opportunities, because there's a young professional, there's a professional that's looking to get involved and get plugged in. These volunteer opportunities are the best way to do that, whether that is just that volunteering at one of our which was well attended Fall Fest that just recently we were able to pull off in person. I thought was exceptional and well attended and had a great event there. But there's plenty of different ways to get plugged in and to volunteer across our association. So we really want to make that an opportunity and improve that. And it may be at different stages of life, because that's the other thing I learned through my journey so far of 26 years in the profession is there's different stages where there's times when I can get way more involved and other times when I couldn't because of other commitments, family related or work related. And so we really wanted to make an opportunity to be there throughout what I call that whole work experience, life experience that you can plug in at different times and be involved in the association.
Well, and one thing I think that the committee has done really well and has worked with the other members in the association is opportunities, not just for necessarily volunteering or what the traditional feel of what we consider, someone traditionally thinks of as volunteering, but realizing like writing an article for the magazine, or if you have some information to share with the membership that you might be an expert in or that you figured out, is sending us suggestions for topics that we can share with the membership. It's engagement on all levels of interest, and not necessarily just having to, like you said, to be on that committee. That could be a 2-year commitment or a 3-year commitment, but sending us information in to help the membership out as well. And that committee's done such a good job of making sure that the membership understands that and hopefully continues to understand, to send us those suggestions and being involved in that way too.
Yeah, and I would add to that, the pillars is a great way to think about it, because there's different interests that you may have or those that around you may have, whether that is connect, which is attending or volunteering at a conference, growing, grow. Of course, we appreciate the ed funds ways of contributing and being engaged. The advocacy, some are more interested in the advocacy side, and we're continuing to grow that within our organization across a footprint is what we like there. So getting involved in those local legislative opportunities to connect with those local legislators, communicate, which is just what she was talking about on the either stories or articles, and then educate clearly. Sometimes that's being a speaker and an opportunity to be a speaker at some of these events. And so many different ways, just between connect, grow, advocate, communicate, and educate, there's an area where hopefully there's an interest that would align well with your team members, with you, or with others, that you could share an opportunity to get involved and really develop and grow your own skill set and passion even further.
Okay.
The other thing that we're really working on now is the recognition for awards. So there's some opportunities for social media recognition, which we're working toward, what's called badges, or a badge that could be attached to social media or to email chains and things of that nature, as to either years of experience or years of membership, all the way to truly volunteering and being involved, and then also leadership training and leadership type of opportunities. So we're really exploring that further as well. That's kind of what the committee is working on right now. And Catherine, would you mind filling in a little bit more what we're trying to accomplish there?
Yep. So we're almost there. We're right at the end of the finish line with those, and hope to have them at the beginning of the year next year, where it'll be something that you can connect to your LinkedIn. So like I said, as members, so that you have a visualization of your involvement with SCACPA and your involvement of, if you're, like I said, a leader or a volunteer committee member, lifetime member. And we hope to build on those as we're able to technologically, and we'll have those out soon. So once we get it out, we'll roll it out first on Connect, which is a great way, like you had mentioned before, to get involved with your other members, answering questions, or if you ever have a question, but also for everyone to show or be able to easily recognize and see who you are on Connect and your involvement, and then pulling those, I said, into your LinkedIn profiles so that you can easily share your leadership skills and leadership leadership, what your actions are, what you're doing with leadership within the association for anyone to see publicly as well.
Yeah, and I think this also speaks well to our various generations in our association as well. So it's an opportunity to connect and use these tools as you advance in our profession, as you advance in our association, and stay involved and engaged, showing that involvement and engagement at the various levels. We have so many great volunteers across the state, and very important for us to continue to grow our community, to stay relevant, to stay in the profession like we're doing. As to why CPA, for example, is a great example of just something that we're doing to make sure we continue to grow our association and grow our profession, and the value that we add in the business community and in the community of legislation as well. So very important for us to stay involved, stay engaged. Our organization gives us that opportunity to do that in a different way that you sometimes don't get in your role at work, to be honest with you. There's times when those roles aren't there to get involved in leadership, and this is a great way to get that engagement, involvement going in the organization or in an association that then will benefit the organization many times over from the growth that you gain through being involved.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of briefly mention a couple of the committees that we have that are always looking for members to assist. The Member Engagement Committee, like we were talking about here, any age range, any background, if you're new to the association, new to the profession, or have been in the profession or association for 27 years, we want that, more than that even. We like the perspective of all members and getting that to see what's needed and what's wanted. That it helps a lot to hear from the membership and that peer-to-peer interaction of what we can do as an association to benefit you as the member and be beneficial and be important to you. And that committee works very hard to gather those pieces of information from other members. And we always go looking for people to join in and hear your perspective on the association. Growing the accounting profession is another. We all know that pipeline is an issue within the profession, and that committee is working very hard to figure out how to work best with students, and not just students who are going through the CPA or going towards the CPA, but students who are in the business community that will need a CPA in the future. So making sure they understand the importance of the CPA and working with their campus champion program to really get that built. So it's really important work that they're doing. And again, always looking for new people to join in and assist with that, the help with those. You'd mentioned before with advocacy, we have our Governmental Affairs Committee, the PAC Committee that work well to help promote that and decide what direction the association is looking to go towards legislatively. The Ed Fund Committee, so they're Ed Fund that are working to make sure that those scholarships are funded so that we can provide scholarships to help students within the association and continue to do that for many years to come. So it's important to have that help for those students so that they do move forward and again see the importance of the CPA and continue on that path to get the CPA. And then also leadership within the association, which the chapter leadership and the board. Our chapters have been very active this year and really been building back, especially after coming off of a virtual, we'll just call it a virtual world, and missing that interaction in person more. And so they've really been working in that local community to get the members together and keep that networking and keeping that connection and community connection alive. And we've got a few different activities coming up with them that I know that they've got a attendance from throughout their chapters that they're interested in. We've really had good responses back from that. And then board. And I forgot, as I go, one of the ones I work very closely with within education is our education and Cpe committee, and planning what that looks like for the association for the future. Not just Cpe and compliance, but actually building programs to advance CPAs and knowledge and education within our Cpe program and our education program, beyond just checking the box off for Cpe, and always looking for people to join with that, because we love to hear what the members are looking for with education and where we need to go with that program. So I know I just spit a lot at everyone, but we've got a lot going on and need a lot of members and engagement to help with those. And we're excited about the direction we're heading with each of those committees.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And I think that's very important to hear how broad the scope is that really is there. And what it takes is each of us really asking others to get involved and mention it to others and sharing that story a little bit. And I'd like to open this up a little bit to you all, if Leslie or Pat might be willing to communicate or share with us. I've got a question for the audience, and if anybody can chime in, not just those two, but the question is, why did you get involved and how did you get involved? Was it because somebody asked, or because you really wanted to plug in and found that reason? Pat or Leslie, would one of y'all mind speaking to what got you involved in the association and maybe how you got involved?
Yeah, Brad, I'll say a couple of comments, because along the way, my track was a lot like yours, hearing your progression. But so I started out with a local firm in the Charleston area, and the way Charleston is or was back at that time, the firms were very competitive, and I just started reaching out and getting involved in the local coastal chapter of SCACPA. And some of the other partners in the firm at the time, they didn't really encourage it. They looked at some of the other their other fellow CPAs in the area as competitors. They didn't really want to socialize and go out and go to some sort of dinner party or whatever with their competitors. But at the time I came along, I had some friends from college who were working in other firms, and just felt like I wanted to socialize and network with them along the way. And so I sort of broke out of the mold of the way our firm had been. And then later, when I left public accounting and went into private industry, I kind of continued to stay involved, and just had a real interest in the continuing education committee, and just served at that level, and just continued my service, and was asked later to serve on the board of directors, and then ultimately ascended up through the officer ranks with SCACPA. But it was really just that something tugging at me to give back to the community of fellow CPAs. So that was sort of my story.
Excellent. And I think that giving back piece is very important, and a great opportunity within an association to do that for the profession and the health of the profession. Because the other key thing I heard was there was an ask, and that's important too. Leslie, if you don't mind, would you share a little bit of your story? Kind of
Sure.
getting plugged in and engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started working at a regional firm, there was some activity there where, it was encouraged to go to the chapter events and do the social part of it, which was fun. And I was probably at my second chapter event, and I met another CPA at another firm and was telling her how much fun I had. And she happened to be an officer, and she said, "You should get involved." And it was just that ask. It was Melinda Grimsley. And so she called and said, would you consider getting involved? And I said, sure. So I worked with the chapter level, and then got involved at committee level, and eventually into the board. But all of those started with somebody asking. It wasn't my pursuing it, but I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that they did ask. So I think it does speak to us knowing, us meaning most of us have been doing this for a while, knowing that us asking younger people to get involved really may go a long way to pulling in people that might not naturally think they want to be part of it. Plus, it always seemed a unique connection because you're around people that have that, we're kind of doing similar things in common, and you don't really have that anywhere else. So those social events were a way that we would connect and get to know people. And then working on committees, we got to know more. And I have an enormous amount of friends and colleagues around the state that I've gotten to know over the years of being involved that are a big resource for me now professionally. It makes me feel connected to the profession. So it's invaluable as I've grown in my profession to be able to be connected through SCACPA.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think that networking beyond the brewing, just as beyond the luncheon, is key. And it looks a little different in this virtual environment where you still need this opportunity to network. Go ahead, Pat.
Brad, I was just going to make one point, because both Leslie and I had that same connection of, it seems like somebody asked, but the point should also be made to the younger folks. Don't wait to be asked. If you're so inclined, volunteer, raise your hand and say, hey, I want to get involved in this group or that group, and just plug yourself in.
I would agree with that. That's why we're trying to create the site, the website, the awareness to be able to see where your interests are and connect in those different areas or plug into those different areas is key, and it gives you that opportunity to grow. So it was probably more historical and ask. I'll give Mark Crocker a lot of credit. He was a great mentor of mine and helped get me plugged in and developed within these organizations. But it is also, that opportunity is there just to reach out and connect with us at either the staff or someone in your local market, and they will help you get plugged in. Catherine, any other thoughts on that? I know we're getting close to our time here.
Well, and I think you guys have hit really hard on it, but that's one of the questions I hear the most is, how do I find the information, or how do I get in touch with people to share the information? If, somebody asked me about the association or how to get involved, where to go. And everything you guys have said is exactly that. We point them in the direction of talking with one of us, talking to another peer within the association, to the website. But do you have any advice for anybody if they're uneasy about talking to somebody about getting involved, or getting involved with the association in general?
Yeah, I think it's, as Pat was saying, it really begins with just an initial either question or conversation, either through our conferences. I know we have a booth and a table available. We have folks available, of course, at our offices nonstop, ready to take a call, and would take a call and plug you into the right folks. Or if it's just looking for additional information about an opportunity, hey, I'd like to get involved, not sure where, ask that question and let us help you get plugged in where you need to get plugged in, and share with you where those opportunities are coming up, and stay persistent to that, because there's different conferences, different events that we do, different committees that we need folks on, because we want to hear your voice. That's the other part of this membership engagement committee is wanting to hear the voice of the members and what you're interested in and what you're wanting, and make sure we plug you into the right spot. I'd let any other on the David or Whitney or anybody else that has a thought on that question is what someone should do to get plugged in.
Yeah. So we're very lucky. Or sorry, David, it looks like you want to say a couple things.
Oh no, it's really that, and there's your discussion with them. What do you like what would you like out of an association? What do you think it should be for you? You guys, those around who've had experience and spent time know a lot of what we do. So then you're able to describe, an advocacy area, or the education and the students, or finding a place that's at least at the beginning important to them as an entry point, and then that gives them a little more enthusiasm, maybe a little more interest in that particular area, and then kind of a platform to grow with us from that particular interest point.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, it's 9:00. So thank you so much, Brad, for joining us for this today, and all everyone for being really interactive with it. I feel like this is good conversation, and we'll have our next What's Brewing in January. So be on the lookout for those, and hopefully continue these throughout the year. So thank you guys so much, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.